I was sent this wonderful drawing from an artist named Franzi from Germany who was referencing this photo. And I think it's beautiful, but they had some issues where they weren't happy with the hair and I think the likeness a little bit. And they asked me if I could give them a little bit of help. So today I'm going to see what I can do. So this is the message I got from Franzi. It read, "I really struggled with the hair and the facial features. The picture looks so funny and that just doesn't come across well in my drawings. I really want to know what I can do better next time. I drew that in January and since then I never dared to try again." Now, this was sent to me back in December, which means they drew this 12 months before this and never went back to it. Which, by the way, is totally normal. It's totally fine. You don't have to go back to a piece of art that you made ever. I got a whole corner of shame of pieces of art that I liked and never went back to finish them. Okay, I want to point out how good this looks. That looks just like the photograph. Franzi, this is really, really good. You can totally tell that this is the same person from the photograph. The eyes look like the eyes and the mouth looks like the mouth. If I was the person in this photograph and you gave me this drawing, I would be so grateful. I would know immediately that that was me and I would be so flattered. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of art. It really is. But since you asked me for help, I'm going to do the best that I can to help you. Though I thought it might be a really good idea to show you that every artist, every single artist is not going to draw from the reference perfectly. We can't. We're not machines. We're not cameras. So I'm going to do a little quick drawing and show you. I'm trying as best as I can to draw exactly what I see. And I'm going to show you just how bad we are initially. And I think that's the thing is that we do our best and then we can either try again or we could make improvements, refine our drawing. But this is a really quick drawing just to kind of show you I'm looking at the photograph and I'm doing my best estimate of how to copy it. Now, this is real time. I'm not speeding this up in any way. And you can see, I think the distance between the eyes might be a little off already. I'm not sure if the nose is right. The chin is too small, and I think I will improve it a little bit. But this is, as a human being, I'm doing my best to capture it. And of course, the more we do it, the better we're going to get. But our hands and our eyes are just, we're not automatons. We're going to make little mistakes. But I want you to understand that the mistakes and the things that are different aren't bad. That's what makes us human, and those little differences and the subtleties and the fact that it's not perfect is what makes art so beautiful and not a photograph. Not that photography isn't beautiful, but if you give someone a piece of art, they don't want it to look just like them. They don't want it to look like a photograph. Everybody has a camera on their phone right now. Everybody has the ability to take a photograph. The gift of art is that human element. It's the mistakes. It's the fact that it's not perfect. I just wanted to say that, and I just kind of wanted to show that to you first. My art isn't perfect. Your art's not going to be perfect. That doesn't make it bad. It makes it human. It makes it unique. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's look at both of our work side by side. Mine doesn't look as much like the photo as much as yours does. Yours is way better. So I'm giving you a star because yours is better. And I'm going to give myself an F because mine is really, really bad. Now, I know that doesn't really answer your question, me showing you worse art, but I wanted to show that to you. So you did want me to help you improve. I'm going to do my best. So let's sit down here and give you my best advice. I always start off with the eyes. To be honest, I think that's just, it might be a personal thing, but I think that as human beings, we always look to the eyes. That's how we identify people. We look to their eyes. If you ever watch me start a painting or a drawing, I almost always start with the eyes. That's where I usually put in the detail. So that's what I'm looking for right now, is I'm just going to add some contrast. One thing I noticed is that your piece is all pretty much the same levels. So your blacks aren't very black and your whites aren't very white. Everything feels kind of in a mid-tone area. So by adding just some blacks around the eyes, it'll draw your attention to the eyes. And another thing that the first thing that stood out to me was that your eyes are very white, and eyes just aren't generally that white. So I'm gonna soften them up a little bit. I'm gonna darken them up just a little bit with a pencil here, because you don't want your eyes to be that brightly white. One little thing I like to do is I like to make the eye be the blackest blacks and the whitest whites. So essentially the most contrast in your overall piece. So I'm going to add a little bit of white, and now your eyes are going to go to this person's eyes. Another thing I noticed was that the nose has a little too much shadow right here. This is the edge that you want the nose to be, and that's fine, but I don't think you need to draw so much attention to it. When I draw a nose, and remember, you're asking me what my opinion is, so this is just how I do it. I usually will add a line here and here, but I try not to get that middle part in there. I will define the bottom of the nose, where the nostrils are, and whatever the little ellipses parts underneath the nose is, but I will leave this part blank. So I'm gonna try to, because this isn't pencil I can actually erase, I'm gonna just try to soften a little bit with a colored pencil. It's not perfect, but just to kind of give you an idea of how it could be a little bit softer. You can insinuate where that line of the nose is by the top and the bottom, and then let the mind fill in the rest. But if you want to go back, you can just use an eraser. Okay, another thing is the teeth. If you look, the teeth are very defined, and we really don't want to do that. We don't want to define the teeth so much because it makes them look more crooked. It makes them look a little less perfect. And unless that's a cartoonish thing that you want to do, I'd stay away from it. You just want to not have those lines in between the teeth. So I'm going to try to soften these up a little bit. Now, obviously you don't want the teeth to be super white, but just for the sake of this, you see how that shape is a much nicer shape? You don't want to have each individual tooth showing. Also, her mouth is open just a little bit of tongue, and it's a bit more of a smile, and you can exaggerate it a little bit more. You can have the mouth be a little bit more of an exaggerated smile. See how that side of the lip goes up, and it's in a nicer smile. Let's accentuate that. Let's exaggerate what makes this photo special. And in a lot of ways, it's this person's smile. So this is me just adding some little touches. This is something you can go back and do if you want to. You can just add a little bit more contrast, get rid of a little bit of the nose off to the side, add a little bit more attention to the smile, and you can find the highlights. They don't have to be bright pops of white, but they can just, if I'm giving little notes, it's just a little bit of contrast, a little bit of variations in the shading. Find the highlights, find the shadows, and you can go a little darker, you can go a little lighter. Okay, the other thing you asked about was the hair. And yes, the hair that you drew is a bit too stringy. So I want to recommend maybe just finding bigger shapes. You don't have to follow what you see in a photograph exactly. You can stylize a little bit. You can make it a little bit more artistic. That's the whole point of making art, is not to copy what you see, but to be inspired by what you see, to reference what you see, but to make it more artsy. So I'm gonna do my little Art Nouveau-y kind of curls and swirls, and I'm not looking exactly at what this person's hair is like. I'm adding my own little style, and I'm adding something that might help the design a little bit. Just having some hair that crosses over itself and that loops and curls and makes pretty shapes. that's art. That's something that a camera can't do. A camera can't make something artistic. It has to only copy what it sees. And we're not cameras, we're artists. So have a little bit of fun with the hair. You can make some fun shapes. That's the best thing about hair, is you can just have it be its own thing. And I think you can just find some fun shapes, have it roll off the back of their jacket. Just find some nice little negative space in between the hairs and have some fun with it. And I would, if this was me, I would of course have the hair flowing out the back and doing something wild and crazy, but this is not my art, this is your art. I'm just giving you some suggestions. The next thing I would say is the hat. The hat can be defined a little bit better. It can have its shapes defined a little bit stronger. And I think one of the things that I'm not noticing in your piece is different textures. And everything has texture. Skin has texture, hair has texture, and this hat has texture. It's got ribbed lines on it, it's stitched, and I think that is something that would really help your piece. So I am going to just add the little ribbing on the hat. And if you notice, I'm making sure that it's not straight. I'm giving it just a natural little curve, and at the lip of it where it folds under, I'm wrapping it around. But these are just uneven little curves uneven little lines to just indicate where the ribbing is. And it takes nothing to do this, and a little bit of pencil work and you are good. And now there's a definition between the hat and the person. And I hope this is helpful. And I'm sorry, I'm afraid that as I do more of these, I'm always going to be apologizing, because I genuinely hate giving people advice in the way that it could be construed as saying that you did anything wrong, and you didn't. It's a beautiful piece of art. I'm just doing my best to give you some advice to help you because you asked. So for anyone watching, my apologies if every single video has me apologizing for doing this, but I do want to see you all happy and feel like you're getting good advice. But I don't think a lot of you who are submitting your art to, give notes for me to give notes, I don't think a lot of you realize how talented you are, how absolutely beautiful your art is, and that you really just need to give yourself some grace. You just need to understand that you're at a certain point in your artistic journey. You're only so many years old, and I'm way older, and I've had a lot more practice, but you're on your way. Your work is very, very good, and you are very, very talented. I want you to know that, because it pains me to think that someone might not like their art. Like Franzi here, your art is beautiful. It really is. And I think you did such a wonderful job capturing the likeness of this person. So you can see I'm just noodling. I'm just defining. I'm noticing little things that I would want to define. But if you look, the main things were the nose and the teeth. And you could add these little triangles where the gums kind of show a little bit. That sometimes helps too. I like doing that. But other than that, everything looks good, and I'm just noodling, and there's nothing wrong if you want to just sit and noodle it. But I don't really think I did much to improve it. I really don't. I think it was 99% of the way there, really. And I'm just highlighting some stuff. One thing I did notice is that eye is maybe over a little bit more in the photo, but it really doesn't bother me that much. Because again, we're not trying to copy a photo exactly. We're making art. We're giving an impression of what we think the art should be. And I think you gave a wonderful impression of that picture of that person. I don't know if they're a friend of yours, but you did an amazing job. I hope this helps in some way, Franzi. You're an amazing artist, and I hope you continue to make art. It's just practice. It's just a little bit of time and finding your own style. But what you did was so beautiful, and I hope I get to see more of it one day soon.